You keep hitting reset. Every single morning, you wake up and tell yourself today is different, but by nightfall you are back inside the same pattern. You call it a fresh start. You call it motivation finally kicking in. You tell yourself tomorrow will be the day you actually follow through. There is a difference between discipline and the theater of discipline. One builds something real. The other protects you from ever having to face what you are actually avoiding. You do not lack willpower. You lack honesty. What you have perfected is the art of the private agreement. The quiet negotiation you make with yourself when no one is watching. The loophole you leave open so you never have to admit you failed. You tell yourself it does not count if no one else knows. You tell yourself you technically tried. You tell yourself the circumstances were just slightly off today. But that is not trying. That is rehearsing failure in private so you never have to own it publicly. Your brain cannot execute a promise and leave yourself an escape hatch at the same time. Therefore, every goal feels slippery. Every commitment feels conditional. You are not starting over because you failed. You are starting over because you never actually committed. The reset button is not hope. It is protection. Protection from the discomfort of sitting with the fact that you said you would do something, and you did not. Protection from the shame of admitting you chose comfort over the harder thing. Protection from having to look at the gap between who you say you are and what you actually do. When you allow yourself to quietly fail and wake up pretending it never happened, you stay safe. Your identity remains untouched. Your ego remains intact. You get to keep the story that you are someone who cares, someone who just needs the right system. But caring is not what you are doing. What you are doing is hiding. The moment you stop giving yourself the option to rewrite yesterday, to soften the truth, to blur the line between effort and intention, that is when the pattern breaks. Therefore, the fix is not a better routine. The fix is a harsher mirror. You already know what you keep promising yourself you will stop. You already know the exact behavior you have been resetting for months. You know, because the same voice shows up every single night. The one that says tomorrow will be different. The one that says today was just an exception. The one that lets you off the hook before you ever have to sit with the weight of what you did not do. That voice is not compassion. It is permission. Permission to stay exactly where you are without ever calling it that. What you need is not another chance to get it right. What you need is to remove the ability to pretend you did. Try this. For 7 days, answer one question out loud at the end of every single day. Did you do what you said you would do? Yes or no? No context allowed. No explanations. No, technically I tried. No, it was harder than I expected. No, I will make up for it tomorrow. Just yes or no. The first 2 days, it will feel pointless. You will still want the easy option. You will still feel the pull toward the behavior you are trying to break. Answering a question does not remove the urge, but it does something else. It removes the hiding place. Day 3 and 4. This is where it starts to hurt, because you realize the problem was never that you did not know what to do. The problem is that you kept giving yourself an exit. You kept leaving room to fail privately and reset publicly without ever actually changing. You do not need a better plan. You need fewer ways out. Day 5 to 7. It gets embarrassing, not in a way anyone else sees, in a way you cannot ignore, because you cannot keep making the same promise to yourself and breaking it without losing respect for the person making the promise. That is the shift. The hardest part is not doing the work. The hardest part is admitting you did not, and sitting with the fact that you have been protecting the fantasy version of yourself more than you have been building the real one. Once you remove the hiding place, you do not suddenly become disciplined. You just stop being able to pretend. And weirdly, that makes it easier, because the decision becomes simple. Do it, or own that you did not. You call it fear of failure, but failure is not what you are avoiding. What you are avoiding is accountability. The moment you stop negotiating with yourself in private, softening the outcome, rewriting the story so you never have to face the gap between your words and your actions. That is when you finally build something real. Therefore, the fix is not more motivation. The fix is less room to lie. You already know the next step. You just keep looking away when you are busy resitting. The reset button does not erase the pattern. It reinforces it. Every time you wake up and tell yourself today is different without changing a single thing about how you operate, you teach yourself that words do not matter. That promises are negotiable. That commitment is just a feeling you have in the morning that fades by the afternoon. But commitment is not a feeling. Commitment is what you do when the feeling is gone. And the only way to practice commitment is to remove the option to quietly quit and call it progress. Therefore, the question is not what you're going to do tomorrow. The question is what you are willing to stop lying about today. You do not need a bigger goal. You need a smaller promise and an honest answer. One thing, one question, no escape hatch. Did you do what you said you would do? Yes or no? That is the mirror. That is where the loop breaks. You already know. Always. Therefore, the question is what you do with that.